Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in again. We are back with another mod for the Frontier, and what we're going to be doing today is fairly simple. We're going to be putting on our ditch light brackets. I don't have the ditch lights quite yet. I'm going to go pick them up in another day or two here, but for now I figured get these on the truck, get some out of my garage, out of the way, and we'll see how they fit. And if you're looking to pick these up for yourself, you can decide if you want them or not. So these specific ones are from Z1 Offroad. I got this from the wife for Christmas, so we're going to get them on the truck. If you want to see a comparison video, I had also ordered the ones from CBI Offroad. We have their front bumper and bull bar here. Their stuff's also good. It's built a little bit differently, so if you're looking at one or the other, I did do a comparison video. You can go check that out. And as for fitment wise, you can see they're slanted up. So of course, going up, facing upwards, you don't want to put it on like that. It will not work. So it goes up, and then the bigger oval points towards the outside of the truck. So this will be the driver's side. And then of course, this one is the opposite way around, and it will be the passenger side. So you want to put them both in place with the big oval pointing out, because that is where your ditch light itself will hook on. If you want to see that video, make sure to like and subscribe, because it'll be coming up in another few days once I get my hand on the actual lights. So let's get the hood popped all the way open. I'll show you exactly where they go and just how easy they are to install. All right, so all you have to do is come under the hood here. You can see the two nuts. You got one here, one here. You loosen both those off. It's a 12 mil, if you're wondering. You need a 12 millimeter ratchet. Put them on, loosen them off. One thing you want to make sure of, I'm going to not do this on film just in case it moves. You want to make sure your hood isn't going to slip up and down, because it's going to throw it out of alignment. So one, either have a friend here. You don't have to keep much pressure on it. The hoods on these things don't weigh much, but you can either one, have someone just keep a hand on it while you loosen these off and tighten them back on with the bracket attached, or two, like mine, you can see under here, is quite dirty right now. You could always make a little mark. You can see it's got quite the dirt buildup around it. Make a little mark in case it decides to drop down slightly. You can just get your bracket in place, and before you tighten those nuts back up, you can just realign the hood, get it back where it was, and then when you close her up, you don't have any weird gaps along here, and you won't be running into any weird gaps or rubbing issues on the front grille. So just keep in mind, before you loosen those off, it could possibly move. Chances are, as long as you do one side at a time, it's not going to move, because they also have the strut here, which holds it quite good. So I'm not too worried about it moving, but just in case, I'm not actually going to film loosening them off, because I may have to catch it. All right, so we got both of the nuts off, and it didn't actually slide down, but what it does is it kind of lifts itself up a bit. If you can see right in there, it's got a gap now. That'll snug back down once we tighten the bottom bolt back up, but it didn't actually slide up and down, so chances are you can take this off and not worry about that too much. So now all we got to do is grab our bracket here, and simple enough, it comes in here. It'll go in place. Show you guys here. It'll go on the bolts just like so. And what you want to do, because you can see there's quite a bit of play, you want to pull it as close to the hood as you can. So if you look up here, you don't want it to be poking out. You want to pull it up nice and snug. Not so much that you hit, but you can see I got a little gap there. That's what you're aiming for. Make it like that. Put the nuts back on, tighten her down. That's as easy as it gets. All right, so now that we got her all snug down on this side, we're going to go do the same on the other side, and then we're going to close up the hood, make sure all the alignment's good, and you can see how it looks when it's completed. And again, before we get her snugged up, this side did the same thing. If you look under here, just slightly lifts. There you go. You can see the bolt here in between there. You get a little bit of a gap, and once it goes back up tight, it stays in the same spot. If you look up top here, you can tell by the dirt, like I mentioned, mine luckily is a little bit dirty. You can see it hasn't gone down at all. So once you tighten these two back up, it'll cinch that gap here, and it'll sit just as it should. All right, so now that both brackets are done, what you want to do is obviously close up your hood and then check your gaps just to make sure. You want to double check nothing moved. You can see it's tight all the way along the front. I looked before we started this video. If you look on this side, just slightly further away, it was like that before already. That's just how it's lined up. Most likely it's the plastic grill that's not quite right, not necessarily the hood that's misaligned, but it's not much. But if you're OCD, you can see it's tightest in the middle, and you kind of flare out just slightly, like I said, where the plastic curves, comes out just a bit. The rubber under there seals everything still, but don't freak out if you're watching this video and you put these on, you didn't misalign the hood. That is how it is before you touched anything, if you didn't look before you started yours. And then of course, come up here. Obviously you want to check your gaps and stuff here. Make sure this isn't sitting higher or lower, or maybe you got it a little cockeyed. You got a nice clean gap there, all similar. We come over to the passenger side. And same thing, you got your gap here, it's all straight, nothing's too high, nothing's low, and then your brackets should look just like that when they're on. And then basically all you got to do, if you want to watch the video, make sure to subscribe. Once you get your lights on here, you put the bolt in. What this hole is for is actually to zip tie the wire for the lights, because you'll put your light on here, the wire will come down, it'll feed into the little gap in the hood there, and then we have the aux beam controller right here under the hood, so it'll come down, it'll plug into that. I'll show you how to do all that in the video once the lights are here, so stay tuned. But that's exactly what you're looking at for these. And now that we got them on, if you watched the last video, like I said, I do have the CBI brackets as well. Only difference is where these are flat, and I mean the whole angle of the steel here is laying horizontally all the way down, connects to the hood. The CBI ones connect to the hood, but the arm coming up is vertical. It's sitting up and down like this. So what you have to do when you put those on, and I believe they sit a little bit further out, because I've seen people have to cut just a little slit here, just the width of the metal. They make a little slit because of course these are flat and you don't have much of a gap there. So when these ones come out, where this is nice and flat and it fits in the gap, when it's standing up and down, you actually have to either get a knife or a grinder, whatever the case may be. This is only plastic, it's very easy to trim, but you may have to trim it just up and down slightly to fit it in so you can close the hood without it hitting any of the plastic parts. But other than that, they're both really made pretty well. They're strong, they're sturdy, they're obviously going to be able to hold up any ditch light that's on here. You can see I can wiggle the whole truck before this thing wiggles anywhere. So nice and sturdy, a solid piece, easy to install as you can see, and it'll do the job perfectly once the lights are here. So make sure to like and subscribe, check out the other videos, drop a comment down below if you got any questions, and hopefully we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody.